All right. So what we're going to talk today is running Google Ads for your shop. This is one of the things that we do for the shops we work with. It's one of our favorite things to do because it works so extremely well. I mean, the good thing about Google Ads is people looking to get tattoos, people looking up tattoo shop near me, stuff like that. Versus social media, if you run ads on that, some of the times it's not someone looking to get tattooed. I mean, there's pros and cons to both for sure. We noticed that Instagram ads, Facebook ads are way better for getting bigger pieces consistently. But if you have a street shop, if you're just looking to get anything done, or you have a specific style, Google can be absolutely amazing. Morning, Kevin. So like I said, this is part of what we do for all the shops we work with. The main thing we do is getting shops new clients, but we also work on getting old clients back. We did a whole online seminar like this about raising the lifetime value of a client, which is the easiest way for a shop to be more profitable. Because if somebody's already come in, they've had a good experience with your shop, it's really easy to get them back in the door. So a lot of shops don't do anything about it. But anyway, that's on YouTube if you guys want to watch it. I'm sure we'll do a follow-up at some point. But then also building your shop's reputation. I mean, all right, so put a one in the chat if you've had a shop for over 3 years and you still hear all the time, hey, I didn't even know your shop was there. I was talking to somebody who's had their shop there for 23 years and he still hears that. And it's like, yeah. So that's one of the things that social media is absolutely amazing for. Brand awareness campaigns. It's extremely, extremely cheap and easy to get your ideal clients when done correctly and people that can afford your style and your tattoos to know about your shop. You know, one of the most powerful things in Meta is being able to target like people that look like your past clients and people that by their income. So you can get rid of all those tire kickers that want a half sleeve for $200, which is pretty nice. All right. So again, that's in a nutshell what we do. So who am I? My name is Jesse. I am the owner of InkLink. Again, we're a marketing company that works exclusively with tattoo shops. We're getting close to 100 shops here in the US, and we also have shops in Canada, Germany, Australia, and New Zealand that we work with. Will this session be recorded? Yes, it is being recorded, and we will send it out after. So I personally, why I am such a fan of online marketing is I have used it to build two businesses to over $1 million a year. And the last venture I started last year grew to six figures in under 2.5 months. I'm a huge proponent of this stuff because I know it works when it's dialed in correctly. The hard part is getting it dialed in correctly. I've been working in marketing since 2016, and last year we spent just over $2 million in ad spend between Google and Meta for ourselves and the shops we work with. So having said that, all the stuff that I talk about isn't like, hey, I think this is going to work. Hey, this is probably going to work. This is a theory. This is all data-backed stuff. So if you follow it, it works 100% of the time, which is nice because it's not, raise your rates, work harder, put it out into the universe that you want to make more money. Like this is data-driven stuff. I'm a very numbers kind of guy, analytic kind of guy. Like the numbers don't lie. So yeah, that's what we love him. And yes, I do have tattoos. We are involved in the industry. I've been getting tattooed for 19 years. We were at Villanars, Baltimore, giving a seminar a couple of months ago. Right before that, we were at the Evergreen Invitational, giving seminars on this exact stuff that we're teaching here today. But yes, so I'm not some guy that has never been tattooed, never been in a chair. Like my ribs are done, my stomach's done, my entire back is done. Yeah. All right, what we will cover today. So Battle of the Titans, Google versus social media advertising. Like I said, they both have a time and a place. They both can be used for like extremely well to get the stuff you want. It just depends what you're looking for. Like you've probably heard me say, if you listen to any of my stuff, a single artist studio that only does geometric in Austin is going to be something very different than a street shop with 16 artists in Manhattan. It's two, the pillars are the same of marketing, but the actual systems are entirely different. Smart mode, what is it and how to use it? Quality score, this is how we're able to beat out shops spending 5-10 times the amount our clients are. It's really cool and not a lot of people know about it. But crazy as it sounds, if you set up your ads the way Google wants you to, they will show you above people willing to spend more. So it's a really, really good way, especially if you don't have a giant budget, to beat out the bigger shops, the franchise shops, stuff like that. Avoiding the pitfalls with Google Ads, because there are quite a few. If you've ever tried to run ads in expert mode, you know that. Why conversion tracking is the greatest thing you can do when it comes to generating better ROI. Landing pages. Sorry, I'm losing my voice already. And if you don't know what a landing page is, it is essentially a one-page website that we use for the shops we work with, and I'll go through that in a little bit. And then we're actually going to build out an ad from scratch. So you'll see how to do it. And again, we will send out a recording. I do recommend taking notes on your iPad or on paper, because I have personally a library of webinars in my email that go there to die. I always send and rewatch them, and I don't. But we will be sending out the replay. You will be able to see exactly how we build out an ad. And then Q&A. And at the very end, after all this stuff, I will tell you, if you're interested in working with us, what we do. You do not have to stay. You can, it's not going to hurt my feelings, believe me. But I'll go over what we do for the shops to work with, pricing, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, do not feel obligated to stay at all, especially Labor Day. It's got stuff to do. All right, so why Google Ads? Well, like I said, it's a higher intent person than somebody you're getting off of social media. They are actually going to Google, looking up tattoo shop near me, best tattoo shop, or best tattoo artist Seattle, stuff like that. For social media, even if you have your targeting dialed in correctly, it's still just people scrolling on social media. So if you can get somebody from Google to call your shop, they're probably going to come in. And again, if everything's set up correctly, if they already know, like your shop minimum, your hourly rate, that you do or you do not do piercings. If it's set up correctly, you shouldn't even be getting calls for piercings. But with Google in smart mode, they lump piercings and tattoo shops together, which is what it is. But it's a really, really good way to get people that are actually looking to get tattooed. Easy to figure out the return on your marketing if you track stuff correctly, which again is another thing we don't see a lot of. But if you can figure out the numbers, which again, Google tracks almost all of it. You just have to track what happens when somebody comes into your shop. After a couple months, you're going to know exactly what it costs to get somebody in your chair, the average amount that person is going to spend. And then all you have to do is put in more money if you're in at least a city with like 50,000 people. It's pretty awesome. That's the thing about paid ads. Organic, it takes time to scale. It takes time to grow. It is very dependent on the algorithms of Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff. Paid ads are not. Paid ads, you're essentially paying to bypass the algorithm and show your stuff to the people that you want to show it to. And again, it's easy to beat shops spending more money than you if stuff is set up correctly on the back end. Okay, so why Google is important. 1.5 million people in the US alone search for tattoo shop near me every month. 1.5 million people. And that is just one keyword out of about 20 keywords you can do. And that's not even getting into like Japanese, fine line, geometric, stuff like that. There is an abundance of people. This works for everybody. Even if you're in a shop or an area with 15,000 people, this will work. There's a ton of people out there looking for this, especially with how much the industry is growing. We've all seen the growth since COVID. There's articles that have come out through Forbes, through I think Business Insider and a couple others, that the industry is projected to double from what it is now by 2029, 2030, which is mind-blowing. Absolutely mind-blowing. It's another reason this stuff is important. We're going to go to a place where there's more and more shops coming in. It's getting more and more competitive, and we're already seeing that. Again, the economy is slowing down. There's a ton of new shops, a ton of new artists that have come into the industry. This stuff is going to be mandatory in 4 to 6 years if you own a shop and you have apprentices coming in. You have new people moving into the area who don't have a client base. This is the way to solve that. And again, if you start jumping on this stuff now, like by the time you get there, you're already an expert. By the time it is too late for everybody else, you've already been using this for years. All right, so let's talk about Google Ads versus social media ads. So social media ads, they're cheaper than Google ads, and they're easier than Google ads for the most part. I mean, even when you go, like there's boosted posts on Instagram, which everybody knows, and then there's smart mode in Google, which is essentially the equivalent of that. Then there's expert mode, and then in Google, and then there's using the actual Facebook ads manager in Meta. And that's how you run ads to Instagram too, is the Facebook ads manager. Facebook's a weird platform. Don't ask me why they did that. But the Facebook ads manager is easier than Google's expert mode. So it is easier. It's a very visual platform. Obviously, Instagram is all about the images. So it's a good way if you're trying to get, like if we have individual artists, that's what we typically use. Like we have some that only do geometric, large scale, black and gray realism, stuff like that. Facebook and Instagram are really good for that. And again, for getting bigger pieces, one of the best features in Meta is that not only can you upload your past client list, like if you have somebody fill out a waiver, hopefully all you guys are doing, you have a past client list. You can upload that into Meta. Meta will find people that look like your past clients and then show those people the ads. If you refine that further by their income, so you're getting rid of all those tire kickers, again, all those people that want just tiny little bangers for $60, it's extremely powerful. Cons, less intent behind it. Like I said, you're going to get more people flaking. Even with the best targeting in the world, you're still going to get more people just asking for a price. So there is less intent behind it because they were not actively searching for a tattoo in the moment, unlike Google. Need to get your targeting dialed in. I cannot overstate that. That is the entire power in Meta, is their targeting platform. Put a 1 in the chat if you have seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix. It's a documentary that came out 2 years ago or something like that. Only one person. Wow. Okay, a couple people. Go watch it. Like, this is what I do for a living, and it made me delete Instagram and Facebook off of my phone. That's how creepy it is. That's how much information they know about it. They got a bunch of people that used to work at Google, Gmail, Meta, Instagram, and talk about like what they do to, one, collect your data, and two, make those platforms as addictive as possible. Even Gmail has a team. Their only job, their department's only job, is to get you to check your Gmail more, because that's how they make money, through the ads. So anyway, the point was, they know a lot about you. Use that to your advantage. It is spooky shit for sure, but it also is what lets Meta work so well if you're dialed in correctly. Cons, get ghosted after you get an estimate. Yeah, it's just going to happen with Meta. It involves a lot more follow-up to get people in your chair. There's a lot more back and forth versus somebody calling. You're going to get a lot more. Somebody calling from Google, a lot more of the time you're going to get, hey, when can I come in? Or, hey, do you take walk-ins? Do you have some availability today? Stuff like that. Google ads, again, it's people looking for tattoo shops. Consultation requests can cost the same as social media ads when done correctly, which is phenomenal. When not done correctly, they can cost a lot more. And you get stuff for piercings, things like that. Less platform changes than Meta. Meta is notorious for change, like the amount of updates they push out. If anybody's tried to do anything with Meta in the back end, it is a freaking nightmare all the time. I mean, I've been using it for 9 years. I'll go in at least once a month and be like, wait, where did they put this? Why did they just change that? It's a nightmare. And again, great for getting people into your chair now. If you have apprentices, artists new to the area, people that are just sitting around waiting on walk-ins, this is phenomenal. Cons, the trap of smart mode, which gets rid of all your targeting options, which we will go over as well. Steeper learning curve, the social media ads, and expert mode is the one thing that we actually suggest hiring somebody that knows the tattoo industry. Any of these other things that we teach you can do. Meta or Google, unless you really want to dive into it and spend the money testing. And I'm not saying hire us, just hire somebody that knows the tattoo industry, that knows Google ads. Again, we will go over all of it today. You will be able to build an ad out by yourself, but if you want to get crazy with it, that's how it goes. It is also people looking for bangers, smaller tattoos. It is harder to segment though and get rid of those people because you can target by income, but it does not work very well. trying to change my shop's name on Facebook Meta for months. Yeah, it's everything to do with them is a nightmare. It's kind of crazy. If you have spent a decent amount of money, you have an option to live chat with Meta support. Even if your business page is low, if you haven't spent, I don't know what the actual number is, the option just doesn't show up. And even then, there are, people in India who can give you like, did you turn it off and turn it back on? That's like that's their support. Avoiding the pitfalls of Google ads. Okay, so smart mode, like I talked about, and again, there are times to use smart mode. If it's set up correctly, it still does work. It just doesn't work as well. You're getting rid of about 80% of your targeting options in there. Again, what makes these platforms so powerful. And then bad tracking. We all the time will go into an ad account when we're talking to a shop owner, and they will say, hey, my ads are doing amazingly well. And then you go in there, and what it's counting as a conversion is somebody just like clicking on the ad. So to the shop owner or the artist, it looks like the stuff's doing amazing, but in reality, it's not. And Google does that on purpose to make you think your ads are doing well when they're like it's not tracking anything that matters. Again, smart mode, easy but not as effective. Good thing is you do not need a website. You can send it to your Google My Business. And Google will make all the changes for you. You essentially set it up, say who you want to target, the area you want to target, and Google will do the rest. It is good for driving in phone calls if your Google My Business is set up correctly. But again, it's not, you're missing out on a lot. And this is expert mode. Expert mode is not set it and forget it like smart mode, like boosting a post. Even meta ads, like once you launch them, once you know what's doing well, you can kind of just let them run until they burn out and then change them out. This is an actual ad account for a client from May 1st to October 30th. We made almost 450 changes in that account to get them the results they were getting. So again, it's not set it and forget it. All right, let's talk about expert mode. So how to switch to expert mode, and if you are not ready to take this leap, don't do it. I believe you can change it back, but again, they hide it in the menus and do not make it easy. And you might not be able to change it back anymore. I haven't tried in quite a while. But you'll see settings, or if you're looking at the new platform, it'll be on the left-hand side on a menu instead of in the top right corner, but it'll say switch to expert mode. That's how you get into it. Types of keywords. So there's 3 types of keywords in Google. One is broad. So if you just put tattoo shops with nothing around it, no brackets, no parentheses, and this will give Google the most control of that keyword. It gets to pick what it thinks is relevant towards that. Versus phrase match, you put parentheses around it, and it will stay closer to that keyword. So if it's tattoo shops near me, if someone just Googles tattoo shops, you won't come up, where in broad you will. It's got to be something closer to what you put in. It's good because sometimes a fair amount of times people misspell what they're trying to put in Google. And this lets that still kind of get those people, but it also gives it a little bit more liberties. And then exact matches in brackets when you're doing your keywords, and that has to be the exact word somebody put in order for your ad to show up. And that works really good for tattoo shop near me, tattoo shop Seattle, best tattoo shop Seattle, stuff like that. Again, this is kind of what I was talking about. Now, if you are going to run Google ads, even if you're going to use smart mode, take a picture of this, put them in exactly how they are right here. Those are 3 that we always use in test, usually use in test. Tattoo shops near me in phrase match, tattoo shops in broad match, and then tattoo shops near me in exact match. Yeah, there's 2 of the same keyword. Tattoo shops near me has always performed the best by far. There's just usually not enough traffic to spend your whole budget, and that even means in places like Manhattan, LA, Miami. Things to know about expert mode. You do need to set up the tracking. That is huge. That is a must. You do not know how well your ads are going to work. There's a million YouTube videos on it. Once you do it once, it's fairly easy. You need to send traffic to a website or a landing page, and I will show you an example of the landing page we use for the shops we work with. You You need to have a budget of at least $500 a month. This, again, is something we've tested. Anything under that in expert mode, it's really, really hard to start gaining traction. And if you need to make adjustments and read the analytics, or if you if you don't have the time to actually learn about it, hire somebody. Honestly, my recommendation. Quality score. Okay. And again, guys, I know this is the boring stuff, but it's the stuff that, like, learning this, you'll know how to run ads for the rest of your life. Because while they've changed where things are, what things are called, the fundamentals of Google Ads have been the same for a very, very long time. So quality score is how you can beat out other shops that are spending more money, which is absolutely awesome. Essentially, how Google looks at it is if they think your ad is going to get clicked on twice because it's more relevant and it's set up correctly, versus another shop that's going to spend more on the click, but they're only going to get clicked once, Google's still going to make more money. So you can spend less, you can bid less for your bids, and you can still beat out guys spending way more money. Again, it's going to look at the landing page experience. Does the ad match what is said on the landing page? That's the biggest thing. Like, are the words essentially the same? They're talking about the same thing. Do you have those keywords in there? Ad relevance, how well the ad is put together. Like, if you're talking about tattoo shops near me, and part of it, you're like, oh, and by the way, we have a barber, like, that's going to kill the ad relevance. It wants you to talk about one thing, your service. An expected click-through rate. That is what Google thinks how many times people are going to click on it when they see the ad. So if you can master those things, you're good to go. And this is how you find it. Go to keywords, search keywords, and in there, it will show you where your actual quality score is. Again, in expert mode. Just kind of went through this. Landing page experience, expected click-through rate, and ad relevance. You can, if you have live ads in expert mode, you see you have a low quality score because it's 1 through 10. You should be going for 6s to 8s is awesome. Anything under that, you can definitely get it up a little bit. 10s are almost impossible to get. 9s are extremely hard to get. Like, this is all we do. Extremely, extremely hard to get. But once you make a change, if you're trying to raise your quality score, you got to give it like 3 to 4 weeks to update, which is stupid and it's ridiculous and it sucks. You don't know if it worked, but it takes Google a while to actually see that reflect. All right, conversion tracking. The number one thing we do not see set up correctly. What we set up as a conversion is either somebody fills out a form to get a consultation with a shop, or they call the shop and they're on the phone for over a minute. And that means it's not a wrong number. It's not spam. It's not getting counted towards the conversion if it's not a good phone call. Typically over a minute, people are asking about your hours, when they can come in, prices, who's available, stuff like that. And again, why this is a must. So if you can see on the right-hand side, this is for an actual client. This was a while ago. But this column right here on the right-hand side is how much it is costing to get a conversion. So obviously at this point, we want to shut these two off, even this guy off, and dump all this money into tattoo shops near me because it's performing the best by far. If you don't have tracking set up correctly, you don't know how much your conversions cost. You don't know what to turn on and shut off and stuff like that. And at that point, honestly, you might as well be using smart mode because it's easier to set up conversion tracking for the most part. But this is why conversion tracking is so important. You don't know what you don't know. And you cannot optimize and make good decisions if you don't know what the numbers are. All right, crafting a converting landing page. What we use a landing page for. If you don't know what a landing page is, and I will show you an example of one of ours right after this. It is a one-page website that people can either call you, they can fill out a consultation request form, or they can leave. They can't go to Instagram. They can't go to 15 different pages and get lost. Like, we want them to either perform the action or leave. That's it. And it is set up to convert. Let me show you what I have. And another thing, if you use an actual landing page builder, it's a little more advanced. It's what we do though. They load faster. Because I know if you're anything like me or any human, if a page takes more than like 3-4 seconds to load, like you're already going. It doesn't matter how much you want it. Somebody else can do the same thing, and the page will work. All right, this is an example of an actual landing page we use. This is live. Again, it's fairly simple. It doesn't need to be some kind of complex thing. And this guy is an individual artist who only does large-scale black and gray realism. It doesn't take phone calls, so we don't have a number on there. But all these people can do is click get a consultation, and then go ahead and fill out a form. That's it. We want to show off the work. If you have reviews, you want it in there, but it can be extremely, extremely simple. And again, if you want people to know stuff, let them know. Like this guy, the minimum you're going to work with him is 4 hours. He typically charges between and this is a nice way to put it to get people interested. Because if you're like, hey, if you're going to spend like $3,000 to $6,000 with me, most people aren't going to fill it out, which is what he charges. But letting people know, like, hey, we don't do little bangers, we don't do small little things, or we do small stuff, but we don't do piercings. Or people like what your shop minimum is. There's a bunch of stuff you could put on here, but I would always recommend if you get a bunch of questions, especially if there's some stuff that you don't want, like you're getting calls for piercings, you don't do them, put them on your landing page. Make sure people have to see it before they can even call you, because there's ways in Google Ads, and we won't go over it today, but where you can actually, instead of paying per click, you can pay per conversion. So if somebody calls your shop or somebody fills out a form, but if they think you do piercings and you don't, you just wasted a bunch of money. Do you recommend any place to get landing pages? So we use a software called Unbounce. I believe it's like $30 a month, something like that. And they have templates, stuff like that. Some of the other good things about landing page builders is we always have 2 versions of a page live. With just little tweaks to it, because one will always work better. You should always be split testing your ads, your landing pages, stuff like that, even if you only have 2 versions, because you can always make it a little bit better. Things can always convert a little bit higher. It's amazing how much just changing the colors on a page from the background being black to white, it raised the conversion rate by almost 3 times. It's one of the biggest things that we've ever done, which is the simplest thing ever, and it sounds ridiculous, but the background of a page, tattoo artists like a black background. When they see a landing page, people looking for tattoo artists like a white background. It's the weirdest thing, but that's what the data shows. Yeah, so Unbounce, there's a ton of them out there. We like Unbounce. It can be a little more complicated. They have one where it's essentially just drag and drop, and we use AI to build out your stuff. Yeah, Ron, it's definitely a majority of people. And that's one of the weird things of why we split test stuff is you'd be amazed what some people like, some people don't like. And again, some people are going to want white. Some people are going to want black. Split test it and you'll see where the majority is. There's always going to be people that like both things. But you always want to go with who likes the most. All right, cool. You guys can see me. All right, cool. All right, and then things to note, we will build out an actual ad, and then I will answer any questions, tell you about the stuff that we do. Things to note, ways to contact. Calls are awesome, texts are awesome. For the love of God, if you email somebody coming from a paid ad, I will come to your shop and give you a nice pat on the back. We'll have a lot of stern talking. Email, especially through paid ads, has the worst reply rate ever. I know a lot of shops use email. It's fine for the most part if you're working with somebody that's been word of mouth because they already know, like, and trust you. If it's a past client, they're going to wait longer. Just how it is. From a paid ad, before this person has any kind of contact with you, the reply rate is 9%. Versus, and we'll talk about this in a second, we have an AI booking bot that reaches out and texts immediately and books in-person consultations. That has a 91% reply rate. So if you are using email, at least for your paid ads, please stop. And realistically, you shouldn't use it at all. I mean, if you look, I don't know if I have a picture in here. I usually do. But at my personal email, I have over 54,000 unread emails. My mom emails me and then texts me a few days later asking if I got it. I'm like, no, of course not. I don't check my email. That's where things go to die. Yeah, no, don't use email. What was the app you use for response? So the app that I'll talk about, are you talking about the booking bot? Yeah. So we use a AI bot called Closebot, and I'll show you in a little bit. Another good app to check out is called High Level. It's about $100 a month, so it's a little more expensive. But there's a lot of, like, we build our entire business out of it. Every shop we work with, we build them out and they count it, even if they don't use it. But you can have all of your phone calls, your text messages, your emails, your DMs from Facebook, your DMs from Instagram, all coming to one spot. So you're not, because I know that's one of the biggest pain in the ass is you're trying to follow up with everybody where everything comes in. So many people end up slipping through the cracks, especially if you have an apprentice or something doing it. But High Level is a really, really good thing to use. We actually have a webinar on YouTube about, not High Level exactly, but about communication, and High Level is part of that, and we say how we use it. Always looking for you to respond. Yeah. That's the biggest thing, and that's I'm the same way, which is why we pull it all into High Level, because it's always right there, and you can't miss it. It's freaking awesome. Okay, so kind of getting back into why not to use email, especially if coming from Google. 78% of people are going to do business with the first shop they speak to, which is ridiculous. Everyone thinks it's about the art and how good an artist you are, stuff like that. For most people, especially coming from like Google or even Meta has a thing where, anyway, never mind. I'll leave that for now. Don't have to get too deep into it. But 78% of people are going to do business with the first shop they talk to. 15% the second or third, and 7% the fourth plus. So especially with Google Ads, if you're emailing them and waiting them for it to get back to you, it's not going to work very well. Because again, Google, if you need a plumber, is the analogy I always use. You're not calling a plumber if you don't have a preferred one. You don't call them, and then if somebody doesn't pick up from Google, you don't sit around and wait for them to call you back. You just go to the next person on the list. And that's how people on Google are. That's the one pitfall. Like, kind of going into that, when Google Ads will not work, if your phone does not get answered, if it takes you days to get back, if you reply via email, or if you can't get back to people quickly. Those are the big things with Google. Because again, if they can't get a hold of you, they might wait a little bit, but they'll just move to the next shop on the list. Just how it is. Okay, so let's talk about AI booking bot. I'll let it kind of run through the conversation as I talk about it. But this is a bot that we use. It's called Closebot. Awesome piece of software. You need High Level for it, and you need this, or it ends up running about $180 a month. But this thing is a game changer. It's been a game changer for the shops that we use it with. And again, we should hit 100 within the next week or so, plus the ones internationally. We have a lot of data, a lot of time testing these things. Essentially, when somebody fills out a form, or if a phone doesn't get answered at your shop, this bot will reach out via text immediately. And that's why it has such a good connection rate. It's called Closebot. It has such a good connection rate that people still have their phone in their hand when they get a text from this bot. And it uses ChatGPT 4 Turbo. It doesn't have like canned responses, stuff like that. It's honestly creepy how human it is. People go into the shop we work with and ask for this bot by first name because they think it's a human. And it will talk to them. It will build rapport. It'll ask them about their idea. Even though we already know what their idea is because they filled out a form, people want to talk about their stuff. It's how you build trust. It's how you build the relationship. It's what people want to talk about. So I'll ask them about their tattoo idea for a little bit. Say, hey, when can you come in weekend or weekday? And they'll actually look at a calendar when you say you have openings and then book them in that time slot. After that, we send them reminders about it. So if they don't show up, it's not because they forgot. They definitely know. But again, this thing has been a game changer. If you don't have a front desk person, a lot of times, even if you do, like they're not versed in sales. This bot is, honestly, it's one of the best things we ever did for the shops that we worked with. We noticed if we can get people in a shop, artists can typically close them, get them put down a deposit, talk to them about their ideas. The gap was getting people to actually, getting shops to be able to reach out within, 2 days. Some are pretty slow about it. All right, let's build an ad. All right, let me get this stuff pulled up. We're going to be building an ad in expert mode, just so you guys know. And again, we'll send out a replay. we're sitting at, what are we at? 39 minutes into it. So that's when you can go to the replay and see how this works. So, and again, we're not going to go through conversion tracker. We're not going to go through all that. We're just going to build out the ad. And we'll build out an ad, we'll say in Seattle. New campaign. So I always do create a campaign without Google guidance because we already know what we're doing. That's what I would recommend if you have conversion tracking set up. And again, you should have conversion tracking set up. And if I'm a little slow on this, I'm just going to let you know, they just made us update our dashboards in Google. We were using the last one forever. So some things they've moved. They haven't had time to really mess with this one. So search is the best. It is what we were talking about. When somebody searches up tattoo shop near me, that's what search is. That's when your ad is going to come up. That is the best. We've tested all of these. I mean, app doesn't matter. Shopping doesn't matter. Demand gen doesn't really matter. Performance Max and display are the two that people aren't quite sure about. We've tested Performance Max. It doesn't work as well, even nearly as well from what we've seen. The conversions are a little bit around 30% more expensive. Display is just when you go to like, I don't know, a news website and you see all those ads on the side. That is what display is. Good for retargeting, which is, again, a topic for a different day because it's more advanced. And then video, this is where out of Google ads is how you run YouTube ads. Out of Google ads is how you run YouTube ads. Yes. And again, for tattoo shops, we've tested it. It doesn't give you the same return as Google. And I know there's a thought, well, hey, if I'm in more places, that's good. And for a retargeting and brand awareness campaign standpoint, heck yeah, it is. But if you're just trying to get people into your shop, unless you're in a tiny little town, you can spend plenty of money in search. Like unless you're spending over $4,000 or $5,000 a month in search, like you're not going to get diminished return as long as you have a decent population in your area. Search. It's going to ask you, these are the conversion goals that we've already set up. And just continue. I don't want to pick any of these because I know what I'm doing. I want to do it myself. Name it. Yep, I already have a new one. So what do we want to focus on? Conversions. Set cost per target. So actually, when you start, you want to do clicks. The biggest thing is you want to get as much info in as you can. And it used to be you would do clicks until you got about 30 conversions, and then you would switch it to conversions. In the last year and a half, 2 years, we've tested it, again, extensively. Clicks still works better. So you just have to leave it, which is nice. Set a max cost per click. And that is 100% essential because if you let Google do it, they will spend sometimes 30 cents on a click, sometimes $13 on a click. So we want to tell the max we're willing to spend. If you're not getting enough traffic, you can raise this, or if it's doing really well, you can lower this. But typically we start at about $2.20. Bid for new customers only. You have to upload a client list, so don't even worry about this. These are what I was talking about. Search network and display network are going to be your display campaigns, which is just your ads showing up on news channels, images, stuff like that. So we click both of these off. Location, advanced search, radius, and again, depending on how big an area you're in, like if you're in a metro like Dallas, if you are in Miami, stuff like that, 3 to 4 miles is typically plenty. If you're in a more rural area, 15 to 20 miles. But like we have a shopping mall within Manhattan and we do 3 miles and there is more than enough traffic in there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do Seattle. So we'll just say 5 miles. Hey. If you get a lot of tourists and you don't want them, this is a good way to at least lower the number that you are getting through your ads. We typically do everything, but if you don't want tourists, again, it's not going to block all of them, but it's going to help getting rid of that. And then next. If you have a landing page built out, this will go look at it and pull keywords from that. We're not going to do that. Final URL. Yep, we just did that again. I gotta fuck with my camera. It's also a brand new camera, so that's cool. We just put where you are sending traffic to, so your landing page or your website. Keywords. So what we are going to do, we have a template for these, so I'm just going to put a few of them in here. And those are the 3 different types of keywords that we just talked about: broad, phrase, and exact. And you don't need a bunch of keywords. Like typically 2 to 4 are going to be, if you use the right keywords, are going to be all you need. People like to, it's not case sensitive. I just do that out of habit. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you put in anything like that, even an exact match. But you'll see, we'll run into shops that have worked with other companies, and we go into their Google Ads and they have like 50 keywords. I'm like, you don't need that unless you're not able to spend enough money. When somebody does that, it shows that they don't know what they're doing, and they're trying to figure out which keywords actually work. So tattoo shop near me, tattoo shop, stuff like that is about all you need. All right, again, this is your final URL. This is where you are going to send people. Always use quotation marks. I recommend it. Unless you're not able to get enough traffic, then use broad. But phrase typically is going to work the best. And then exact match. We will test having just like tattoo shop near me open. And this is in a different campaign. So we run 2 campaigns. Again, I'm kind of simplifying what we do so it doesn't get too crazy. But we'll do one campaign or one ad set that has phrase and then one ad set that has broad and test those. But 85% of the time, the phrase match will win. Display path. The only thing this really does has been shown to help with your quality score. So we're just going to do tattoo shop near me, since that's the main keyword we are actually going after. All right, and then the headlines, this is essentially what's going to show up at the top of the ad. And same kind of thing with quality score is you want those and I know that's a weird way to put that in, best tattoo shop near me. Google isn't going to always show these, but it's going to raise the quality score of it. So you can put stuff in like that isn't really the best English for what somebody's looking up. And I wouldn't do a ton of them, but yeah, that is one you can definitely use. Another thing is when you come up to keywords, you can do things called negative keywords. I would put in your shop name, because if somebody is looking up your tattoo shop, you don't want your ad to show up and then spend money on them actually clicking on that ad since they were already looking for you. If you have any kind of satisfaction guarantee, that is huge. Highly, highly recommend putting it in there. Description. Correct. Quotation marks are for phrase. Broad just has nothing around it, and exact has brackets. And that is just a little bit about your shop. And this is going to be stuff for InkLink, but you just put a little description about it. Again, use the keywords if you can, stuff like that. Always do 4 of these and take up as much of the description as you can. Images, you can add images. They're typically not going to show up, but you can put them in there. Business name, we already have it in there. Business logo, we already have it in there. Now, here's where most people don't set things up, and it is absolutely huge, is things like site links, extensions, stuff like that. They just make your ad so much bigger. So essentially, when somebody is looking at an ad, especially on mobile, if yours takes up half of the freaking phone and somebody else's only takes up a tiny little bit, like who do you think they're gonna click on? And let me actually, I probably shouldn't go through all the clients, but and again, people typically aren't gonna like this. Doesn't do a lot. People typically don't read this stuff. The one thing is that it makes your ad bigger, which makes it stand out so much more. And adds extra buttons at the bottom. What this is essentially doing is adding these buttons right here at the bottom. So again, it just makes it look so much bigger. More asset types, same kind of thing. Promotions, if you have some kind of an ad going on, awesome. Structure snippets are the same thing. They just make everything look bigger. So recommend doing those. Lead form, you can leave out. We don't want to do that. Callouts, same kind of thing. We want to add those just because they're going to make the ad look bigger. Now you went from this tiny ad that almost every single person has to this giant ad that takes up half of the phone. And that's why it gets a click-through rate. Like so many people click on it because it takes up more room than almost any other ad I've ever seen from tattoo shops. And then 2, it just looks more professional. It even looks bigger than any of the organic listings. And you can put more about your business there. Budget, we recommend about $17 a day. And then that's it. That is how you build an ad. You'll go next, and we'll actually start the ad, stuff like that. I know that's a lot, and again, that's why we're going to send out the recording. But does anybody have any questions about that? Are you talking about for the, oops. Up here, yes, because it's showing that it's a different word. And you can't just put a space in between. There has to be something in between, and we want Google to know that they are separate words. Automatic AI response bot app is called CloseBot. So if I'm setting up WordPress, type of landing page, some keywords can be incorporated into it. Yes, so the keywords should be, and then also the metadata, which is essentially, like if you look at right here where it says InkLink about us, that's the metadata. That is what is telling Google what this page is about. So that should always be set up as well. Why do you recommend a minimum of 500 per month? Is that due to other shops using ads? Can we spend less in a small town? You can give it a shot. The biggest thing that we noticed is Google had a hard time learning, and that's one of the most powerful parts of it is the algorithm and letting it do its thing after you set it up. Under $500, it has a really, really hard time getting traction. If you're in a fairly small town, give it a shot. But I mean, we've done this in smaller towns. I still recommend 500. Absolute minimum 300, which is $10 a day. You can use smart mode, and you can get traction with $5 to $6 a day. Again, not as good as if you're spending the 17. But if you have less than $300, smart mode is definitely the way I would recommend going. All right, now let me see if my camera's gonna work. That's really frustrating. Oh, there we go. Probably gonna overheat again. Oh, great way to start today. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what we do. Again, you can feel free to leave. We'll send out the replay. This is just going to be about what we do for the shops we work with, our programs, and then any other questions after that, more than happy to answer. That was the wrong button. We have two programs shops are typically doing. Shops are spending usually about $1,000 up to $2,000 a month. That includes ad spend. That includes absolutely everything. We have franchises we work with that are spending $7,000 to $8,000 a month. But the typical is $1,000 to $2,000. And that covers everything we've talked about: Google Ads, the ad booking bot, the landing pages. One other really cool thing that we do is, let me pull this up real quick. And even if you do not work with us, highly recommend doing this because it's pretty freaking awesome. So when we move, if you're on paper, we move your waiver online. Even if you are online, we like to move it into our system. Because what will happen, somebody will fill out a waiver, and the next day they'll get a text from your shop saying, hey, if you had a good time, will you please leave us a review on Google? It is a phenomenal way to get more Google reviews. This is my buddy's shop. He actually lives here in town. He's been there 10 years. He started by himself. Now he's got 7 artists. After 10 years, and he's a great guy. Like, everybody loves him. He just wasn't asking for Google reviews. But after 10 years, he had 72 reviews with a 4.6, which is mind-boggling. We started up this system 6-7 months ago for him. Now he's got a 4.9 with 326 reviews. So it's a phenomenal. Artists feel weird asking for them, but it's one of the best things you can do. And now anytime you look up anything for tattoo shops within 20 miles of his shop, he's the guy that comes up first just from getting those reviews done. And then also, if you look at this, who do you think somebody's going to go to? The 4.9 with 360 or these guys? Always going to be the guy that has the most and the best. So again, even if you don't work with us, highly recommend doing that. It is, you set it up once, and we do that to a high level as well, but it makes a big deal over the long run. So that's the waiver. If you have a past client list, we'll send a text out to them when we first start working with you guys to get them to come back in. Again, or anytime you have a guest artist or you have an event coming up. I know Flash stuff is usually pretty busy, but if you do any fundraisers, send out text to all your past clients. Awesome. If you want to schedule a call with us, you just have to scan this QR code and we'll set up a call. And again, we don't really, we're low pressure, man. If you want to work with us, awesome. If you just want to talk, awesome. We'll help where we can. And we're not, I'm the guy that does the sales. I don't try to push anybody into working with us. So it's very low pressure. Other than that, hopefully that was helpful. I actually kept it under or at an hour for the first time ever. That's awesome. I know people want to go do stuff. Are there any other questions I can answer for you guys? Oh, wow, that's in roll. So after this, can it be rolled over to self-manage? Yeah, some shops do that. Typically what we see, because even after 3 months, we're still making changes. We're still split testing stuff. And we get a pretty darn good return from the shops we work with. So most don't, but after 3 months, you 100% can. Ron, then you set up Google. Yeah, you set up a Google My Business. It's amazing. Even if you're an individual artist, you can set up a Google My Business for yourself. And then that way, you're just starting to build your own personal brand. So highly recommend that. It's an option to purchase a program without a landing page and booking bot. You could do it without the booking bot. Really, outside the landing page and the ads, everything's just an add-on that we do for free. We always will use our landing pages because we know they work. As soon as we start making adjustments, start making tweaks to it, it doesn't. We've always seen it. It's never worked better. I'll just say that. Every single time it has worked worse. So again, the pros of working with us is that you're getting all the tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars we've spent to millions of dollars that we've spent for shops in the past. You're getting that knowledge and what we know works. What about a guest traveling artist? So Meta ads, Instagram ads, Facebook ads are awesome for that. Would not recommend Google ads for it because Google ads takes about a week or two to really start gaining traction, and then you dial it in over a month or so. And that's because we know what we're doing. If you hire somebody that does it, or you start to do it yourself and you have no clue, like let's say you hadn't taken this class on or the seminar, it typically takes 4 to 6 months to get them up and running well. Like you guys are way ahead of the curve with this now. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend Google ads for doing convention stuff like that. Do you work with all shops that want to enroll? No. Oops, I am missing questions. Sorry. I'll get back to you, Rhonda. Hold on. Anthony, do you work with all shops that want to enroll? No. So we are going to have a talk and take a look. We're especially picky with individual artists that we work with. If there's one bad artist at the shop, it's easy to cover up. If the artist that we're working with is bad, that's not. If a shop has terrible reviews, if they don't do good work, we won't work with them. It's just going to leave a bad taste in our mouth, the shop's mouth. There's only so much we can do. We're not magicians. Like we can get your name and your work out there, interesting people to come to you, but there's got to be a level of professionalism and a level of artwork for us to do that. All right, Rhonda. Are those prices you use for your service? So those were prices. $1,000 a month is just, that is for working with us, including ad spend. If you're just going to run Google ads by yourself, $500 a month is what we recommend. Our shop is 4 miles young in Fallbrooks, California. It's such a small town. What are your recommendations? Let's look at Fallbrooks really quick. Fallbrooks, California. I mean, you got Camp Pendleton right there. Honestly, with Camp Pendleton there, I would definitely run some ads targeting that area, and then let's do some kind of deal for the first time a Marine comes in, something like that. That is like being near a military base is, there are people that like tattoos, want tattoos, they have the money for tattoos. That's who I would recommend targeting. And then do another ad that is excluding Camp Pendleton and do 20 miles, something like that. See what happens. If you don't get traction, just raise the radius and see what happens. Should I set up a Google business if I work in a shop? I mean, I personally recommend it if you're trying to build your own brand. And the good thing about building a brand is it doesn't matter what shop you go to, you still have people. As long as it's local. Obviously, if you're going from LA to New York, then you're on your own. But at least you have the reviews on there. Again, it builds credibility, stuff like that. Opening a new shop October 2nd. Going to start advertising now. and setting up Google or closer to opening day. I would start getting it going now. So what happens with Google is if you have a brand new Google ad account, they're going to limit how much you can spend for the first 2 weeks. And they do this to make sure you don't go in there, set up, or spend like $1,000 and then just disappear. So the first 2 weeks, you're going to be limited to $5 to $7 a day. Also, since there's no data in your account, it takes a little while for Google Ads to get going. Again, you have the foundation from what we're talking about here, but I would get it going now for sure. Even if the ad is, hey, new shop coming, here's our opening day promotion, fill out this form to get on the list, something like that. Military does not mind traveling for good work, Kevin. That is very true. What's the best way to set up a Google business if you work in a shop? So the one hard part about that is you need to use either a PO box or your home address, because you can't have two Google My Businesses in the same location. And obviously, shop owner would probably be fairly pissed if you did that. So don't recommend that. But just use your home location. They've changed things recently, so you might need to get some kind of, it can be like a cheap sign, something like that. Or they might mail you a postcard and you just have to get that and fill it out. Google's changing a little bit, but I would recommend trying to send one up. If you hit any roadblocks, just shoot us a message on Instagram and we'll troubleshoot it with you. So in San Diego, I typically try to target military clientele. Yeah, again, you got camp panels in there, man. Plenty of military people, plenty of Navy, plenty of Marines in the area. So, I don't know if you could target exclusively military in Google. You might be able to in Meta. I honestly don't know the answer to that. But, I mean, if you can just do it, just put a radius right above Camp Pendleton. or down by the all the ships down in the bay. So that's what I would recommend doing. And then again, have some kind of deal for military. Have it in the ad and then have it on the landing page as well. Cool. Any other? Facebook marketing seems to work. How do we get started with you? If you scan this QR code, Anthony, you can set up a phone call with me. Then we'll have a talk about it, see if we're a good fit, see if we can help you out. Just got to go from there. Red, no problem, man. If you have any questions, shoot us a message on Instagram. I'm more than happy to help and troubleshoot anything with you. Kevin, Facebook marketing seems to work. Facebook marketing 100% does work. Again, it's apples and oranges. What are you looking for? Google is definitely better for a shop that has multiple artists, especially if they have openings for walk-ins, stuff like that. People can come in right now. Facebook marketing still works, 100%. Again, this is what we spend millions of dollars testing. And again, the thing about Meta is you can target people that look like your past clients if you upload your past client list, and then you can refine it by their income. And that's a game changer for most shops, because I've never met a shop that does that. And we've worked with we work with and have talked to quite a few shop owners. So doing stuff like that, and again, just doing these little things put you so far ahead of it. Almost every shop that I talk to just does posts on Instagram. Lose all your targeting options. You can't do anything cool. And if you are interested in running ads out of the Meta Facebook, or the Facebook ad manager, like we recommend, we have a webinar on it on YouTube. Again, that's free. Everything that we do, we teach for free, just if somebody wants to learn how to do it. Yeah. All right. Rhonda, we just work with shops. Yeah. I mean, I've done e-com before. I sold courses years ago. Like we're talking 7-8 years ago. It's just a different animal. We're not set up for it. I highly recommend getting a list though. Yeah. Like you guys got those text messages to show up for this webinar. Just doing that is a game changer. Letting people know via text that the next webinar coming up is a game changer. Doing webinars is a game changer. Having a podcast. That's another thing. If you look up Tattoo Marketing Podcast, we have a podcast. We bring on successful shop owners, industry experts, stuff like that. Again, Spotify, Apple Music, it's all free. Yeah. All right. What's your YouTube channel with the meta webinar? Let me grab it and I will throw it in here. There you go. All right. That is our YouTube channel. Again, all our webinars go up on there. Most of our podcasts go up on there as well. YouTube Shorts, all that jazz. Hey, my camera hasn't died yet. Cool. I just bought this thing, and it was not cheap. I am fucking pissed. Oh, good Lord. All right, guys. If there is no... Oh, there are. Why does this not scroll down? Oops, I just don't. To a different state. Oh, yeah. Sounds good, Rhonda. Shane, shoot me a message on Instagram if you want us to take a look at that. You should be able to do it in the settings. You should be able to rename it. Typically, it will still take a week or two, but there should be a setting in there that you can change. Yeah, shoot me a message on Instagram. We'll shoot a Loom video on how to do it. Or if you're interested in working with us, yeah, just schedule a call. The recording we will set up. David, you are welcome. If you have any questions, just let me know, man. Send me to Rhonda. We will send out the recording probably by the end of this week, early next week. We'll send it out via text, email, and it will be on our YouTube channel. What is your Instagram? Let me grab that. I should probably put all of that in a single link. That would make life so much easier. There is our Instagram. All right, guys. Again, just shoot us a message if you have any questions. Schedule a call with us if you're interested in learning more. And we'll shoot out the replay as soon as it is ready. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Enjoy Labor Day. Talk to you guys soon.